Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Nashville Native. I'm your host, like always. Every week I am here. Justin Hawkins is the name. Nashville Native is the brand. Bringing you all things Nashville sports content that you could need. The Titans, the Predators, Nashville SC. Whatever you got, we've got it. All right, so Nashville SC's not quite playing yet. They did have a friendly match against Orlando City that was canceled, so they have not played. So we'll get more into that whenever they start picking up their season and making moves and roster changes and stuff like that. So we got Nashville Predators news, we got Tennessee Titans news, updates with them. We've got the Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday is coming up. We had the Pro Bowl last weekend. Something special with LeBron James. If you've not heard about it, the King is the king for all. So we've got some good stuff coming up. Let's get started with the one and only LeBron James. LeBron James on Tuesday night made history, everybody. He went for the number one all-time scoring record, breaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for 38,388 points, and he did it on a really cool night. You know, Tuesday, they did not get the win. The Lakers did. They lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder. But LeBron James had 38 points on the night. He needed 36 to get the record and wanted 2 more just to seal the deal. So it was a really cool night. These things you don't get to witness all the time. You know, in some of your lifetimes you don't get to witness these things. And LeBron James is 38 years old, and he's spent a long time. He came right out of high school at 18 years old. He's played 20 years now. And, he's still here's an example. He's scoring 38 points on a Tuesday night nearing the end of the season in February. The man can still do it. He can still bring his game. He can still facilitate. He can still get up and down the court. He can block shots. He can shoot shots. He's getting better at the three ball. He's making threes. Really, when he was with the Cavaliers the second go-around before the Lakers, was not a very good three-point shooter. When he was with the Miami Heat, he was not a very good three-point shooter. He was more of the mid-range and dunks, layups, you name it. He is a powerhouse all day. I remember playing 2K15 with LeBron James, and the man was a cheat code, except for the three ball. And so that was always fun. Anytime you ever played with or against LeBron in the 2K15, I remember that. And he was literally 99 everything except for shooting the three-pointers. And you didn't want to play against him because you couldn't beat him. Miami was just that good at that time. That's obviously they won the championship. But yeah, so LeBron James makes history. What a cool night it was. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, among other stars, made their presence there. And what I don't understand, though, is why in the world would... And I get it's a special night. LeBron James breaks history. When's the next time that he's going to do... or somebody is going to do that? I get it. And it's an iconic night. It's in LA at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. But what I don't understand, there was 10.9 seconds left in the third quarter when he made his shot to get to the 36 point and break the record. But what I don't understand is, why would you stop the game for 10 minutes? You are playing a game. Why can't you? You should do it afterwards, right? Everybody knew as soon as he made that shot, everybody went wild. Everybody knew, I'm sure they were putting updates on the Jumbotron throughout the game, just saying, hey, he's this much closer, and he's this closer. Oh, he's one shot away, this and that. Everybody knows that he was going to break the record. But stop it for 10 minutes? I feel like that's a ceremony, something you should do after the game, especially when you're losing. Obviously, the Lakers end up losing the game, and it makes that moment, it just seems interesting. You stop the game, you break whatever momentum LeBron or the Lakers had, and you pause. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like I said, I get it. It's history. How often are you going to see someone become the all-time leading scorer in the NBA and do it, like that? I get it. But, so, that being said, in the 10 minutes, it was cool. They showed all the stars coming out. They're clapping, they're cheering, this and that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar comes down onto the court, and kind of funny scene there. He takes the basketball that they were playing with, and he hands it to LeBron. I'm sure it'll make a very iconic picture coming in the in the years, and people will always take note of that. And if you were there, you saw it. But if you saw it, the most expensive ticket price that I saw on Ticketmaster to get into that game, the most expensive, and I'm sure it's probably like for like Jay-Z or some of these high caliber celebrities. I know Denzel Washington went to the game. It was about $500,000. Now, of course, it's anticipation to see something you probably will never see again, but $500,000 to get to a seat. Basically, you're probably sitting right next to LeBron. That's probably why you're paying $500,000. The cheapest seat for the night was about $300 to $400, which is still very hefty for a Tuesday night NBA game. But I mean, it is LA. There's a lot always going on there. You never know who you're going to meet there. So I get there's a lot of things. I've been to Grizzlies games before, and tickets are nowhere near $100 even to get up top. But nonetheless, it was a cool sight. Like I said, how often are you going to see things like that in your lifetime? And so that was really nice. Obviously, the Lakers didn't get a win, so it was kind of a bum out moment there. But I'm sure LeBron will quickly forget that it was a loss. I don't know. He does take things kind of personal sometimes. If you've ever seen some of his press conferences after the game, before the games, or for the NBA Finals, playoffs, whenever he's in there, he does take those things kind of personal, just because it's a personal achievement. I'm sure he's all giddy, and he's the number one all time, and in that respect, and I get it. But I think he does take those things personal, and if it was me, it would be somewhat of a tainted night. I don't know if you would agree or not, but it kind of seems like it would be a tainted night, a bittersweet moment of, yes, I got this, I became this, I scored 38 points, I became the number one leading scorer of all time in the NBA, but we lost. So there's that aspect to it as well. So I think and for me, it would be kind of like a little tainted moment. It's great, all these pictures, but one thing that's there is like, oh, but did you win? No, we lost that game. But does it matter? Oh, well, I mean, you asked a question, so yes, I think it does kind of matter. So I think it's kind of more of a tainted moment there. But nonetheless, LeBron is 38 years old. He just broke the scoring record. I think he's got at least 2, 3, 4 more years under his belt that he can play in the NBA. So you're thinking he averages 2,000 to 3,000 points a year. That is if he plays the full season. He's going to get up to about 40-ish. He's going to get to 40, 44, 45,000 points before he's done with his career, and that is crazy. That may never be done again. Kevin Durant is a really good scorer in the league. Obviously, he's got a long way to go to catch up to LeBron, but, LeBron, one thing, it's not like he's averaging, 10 points a game, whatever, and he's played all these games, and he averages 25, 26 points a game across his career. Miami, he averaged almost 30. When he first got started with Cleveland, he was averaging close to 30. His second go-around with Cleveland was about 27, 26. With LA, he's averaging about 24. So he's a very high average scoring player. He's done that across his career. One thing that also may never be broken is his streak that is going on of 10-plus points a game. I looked it up the other day. He's gotten about 1,150 games straight of 10-plus points, and that goes all the way back to 2007. Can you believe it or not? So since 2007, he's scored 10-plus points, and that's even games considering when he's left the game early due to injury or what have you. So that's very impressive, and that may not be broken. I've not looked on the stats and see what Michael Jordan did or what Kobe's streak was, but LeBron, almost 1,200 games is crazy if you think about it. It's 82-game season. Maybe you don't play every game, but you're getting 10-plus points, and plus he's gotten hurt in some of these games that he's still scored 10-plus. He's getting 10 points almost in the first quarter. That's pretty much all it takes for LeBron to get 10 points. So, like I said, he may set a record that may never be broken. Now, the league, the way it is now for the NBA, they're more of a shooting league. They're three-pointers, so it could be done, but I don't. There's not a scorer in the league at this moment that I think is really doing what LeBron is doing. Scoring at the rate that he does. You get like a Giannis Antetokounmpo who's scoring 60 here or 50 here, but he's not doing that consistently. He'll get a 20-point game or a 15-point game or whatever. So, there's all these players got a long way to go to catch LeBron. And, obviously he's still going and he's still increasing that gap. So that's a cool sight to see if you didn't see it. I didn't get to see it, but it was a really cool thing to hear and listen to after the fact, watching some highlights and stuff like that. Like I mentioned, the passing over the torch or passing over the ball from Kareem to LeBron. So that was a cool thing. All right, moving on. We got the Super Bowl, or should I say the KELCE Bowl. Okay, it's Jason KELCE versus Travis KELCE. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Talked a little bit last week about what each game went into and kind of break down those games. So we're going to break down kind of what's it going to take for each team to win. I think if you just look superficially, the teams, Philadelphia is one of the most well-balanced teams in the league. I think the other one is the San Francisco 49ers, and obviously they got put out in the championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles, but they're just so well-balanced. They have a great defense. They've got pass rushers galore. They got Hassan Reddick. They have Fletcher Cox. They have Brandon Graham. They have Josh Sweat. They get after the quarterback. And a lot of these players made the Pro Bowl. Then you have the cornerbacks. Darius Slay is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And they have good safeties. So they're a very well-balanced team. And that's just on defense. And then you got on offense. You got Jason KELCE starting up front at the center. He made Pro Bowl. He's one of the best centers in the league. You have Lane Johnson, the right tackle. You've got A.J. Brown, and we'll get to A.J. Brown in just a minute, unfortunately. You have Devontae Smith at the other wide receiver position. Then you have Jalen Hurts at the quarterback, who is a very good dual threat quarterback. I don't think he's quite elite because I don't think his arm talent is quite there, but he does enough. That offense and that team just allows Hurts to do what he needs to do just to get the game going. And that's, if he needs to run, he'll run. If he needs to throw, he'll throw. That offense, he has time to throw because that offensive line is spectacular. He has good, deep weapons at wide receiver. Devontae Smith is a burner. Quez Watkins, their receiver, he can be a burner. A.J. Brown is a catch-and-run kind of guy, but also can beat you deep sometimes. So they have really good weapons across the board. Then you got their triple threat, I like to call them, as their running back situation, which is Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, and Boston Scott. You have everything you could ask for. They can catch out of the backfield. They can run all three downs. They can pass all three downs with those backs. And Kenneth Gainwell is one of those change of pace backs. He can run it. He can catch it out of the backfield, and he's one of those deceptive kind of guys. Very shifty, and he's not the starter. Miles Sanders is the starter, but he comes in the goal line situations, and almost probably 80% of the time he's getting in the end zone. It's very rare that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to get down to the red zone and not score a touchdown. Whether that be through the air, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, on the ground with Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell, or through Jalen Hurts. He's more than capable of running the football. He had about 500-600 yards rushing this season. So they have a very well-balanced offense. And you look across the way, you got Kansas City Chiefs, who they have a spectacular offense. It's a show. You got Patrick Mahomes running the ball, or throwing the ball. I like Isaiah Pacheco, the running back. He was a 6th or 7th round draft pick this year, and I really like him. He reminds me of Tyreek Hill. He wears the same number 10. He's small. He's very shifty. He's not as quick as Tyreek Hill. Not many people are, but he reminds me a lot of him because of his shiftiness and his ability to get upfield quickly. Then, of course, you've got the best tight end in the league, Travis KELCE. They have good offensive linemen. They do the job. They give Mahomes time. And then they got their receivers. Their receivers are okay, but Mahomes elevates them. He's very similar to what Tom Brady's done in his career, where he has not many well-known receivers, and then he just elevates them. So you've got Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you've got Juju Smith-Schuster, Mecole Hardman, but he is on injured reserve, so he will not be playing in the Super Bowl. He's not played for a little while, so I don't know necessarily that Mahomes and company will be missing them, but the Chiefs have a good offense. Mahomes is just something else. He can make plays come out of nowhere, and he can just do whatever he needs to do and gets the job done in a very showy, spectacular, flashy way. But then you look on the other side, the defense, really the only thing that the Chiefs have going for them on their defense is up front. They have decent linebackers. They have really good defensive linemen. specifically Chris Jones, defensive tackle. They also have, what's his name, Frank Clark. Edge rushers, they've got them. Linebackers, coverage, tacklers, they've got them. But when you get to the safeties and the cornerbacks, they're a little spotty there. You've got L'Jarius Sneed, I know he's one, and they're okay. They do enough. I mean, look, when the Titans played them, they didn't have to do anything. Malik Willis was the quarterback. He didn't even throw for 100 yards. They just had to cover enough. It was really more just running the football. Kansas City threw all over the Titans. Mahomes threw for almost 500 yards, I believe. Or they had 500 total yards of offense, I think is what it was. And, it's just one of those things. Can they do enough to stop Philadelphia? And Philadelphia's got that, if you're stopping them in the run game, they're more than capable of beating you in the passing game. So how can you balance that attack? And I think the way you balance that attack is really just, you got to blitz. You're going to have to blitz. You're going to have to make Hurts get uncomfortable, because the only way that Hurts really gets flustered, and he did this at Alabama, is when you break down the pocket. He's not a great passer. Okay, he's not very accurate. He's got a really good arm, but he can overthrow, underthrow. He's not super accurate. So I think the best way for the Chiefs to get a handle on this game is to break down that pocket. But the Eagles have a very good offensive line. For the Eagles to win this game, I think they got to play Eagle football, be well balanced, get to the quarterback on defense, cover well, get a couple interceptions. They're going to have to run the football. The Chiefs are not the most fantastic at running against the run game. Obviously, every time Derrick Henry plays them, the Chiefs know that they have to do whatever they can to stop the run game, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The Eagles are going to have to utilize every ounce of capability in that offense and that defense because Mahomes can very easily make this a gun show. It go one way, Chiefs score. It go the next way, Eagles score. That's Mahomes and Chiefs style. They did it last year against, you saw the Buffalo and Kansas City divisional round game. That was a gun show. Back and forth they go, and I think Mahomes is very capable of doing that. Is Jalen Hurts capable of doing that? If the run game is not working, can he stick to passing? And I don't think he can. I think that's the difference there. It's the quarterback. Okay, they have a very well-balanced offense. They have a good defense, but it comes down to the quarterback. If the Chiefs are down, I think Mahomes can get the Chiefs back into it. But that defense of the Eagles is something else. So my thing with the game here, it's really going to come down to those KELCE brothers, and specifically it's Travis KELCE. If Travis KELCE does not score a touchdown in this game, I don't see Kansas City winning this game. Travis KELCE is the safety blanket of Mahomes. Whenever Mahomes needs him, he is there. Okay, and I know that Philadelphia is going to say the same thing too, but it doesn't matter. There's not many teams in this league that can cover Travis KELCE and keep him out of the game. So if he can score a touchdown in this game, I think that is the only way that the Chiefs can win. If he does not score, you heard it here saying that Philadelphia will win this game. So, if you have all those things aside, okay, then, let's take in the Titans aspect to it, okay? They played both teams this year. They lost to both teams this year. They with Malik Willis at quarterback, they went into overtime with Kansas City. But for the Eagles, they got blown out. And A.J. Brown had a monster game. So speaking of A.J. Brown, obviously he was played with the Titans last year, traded away on draft day for Traylon Burks, essentially, and a third-round pick this year. A.J. Brown has done whatever Philadelphia was hoping for. And maybe is probably what Titans fans and the Titans organization was hoping for that he would be. Over 1,000 yards, top 5 receiver this year, made the Pro Bowl. He was a star. He was a superstar. And, the Titans, unfortunately, they couldn't give him the money that he wanted. So they traded him. I get it. But at the same time, players like that, you don't let go. Derrick Henry, you didn't let it go. He was going to become one of the higher paid running backs in the league. You made it work. You didn't let him go. Obviously, he is what he is, the best running back in the league. When it comes to A.J. Brown, I'm not saying he's going to be the best wide receiver in the league, but when you have a guy like that is a game changer on offense, a well-balanced team is all I'm searching for as a Titans fan. A well-balanced team is all I'm searching for. Good offensive line, a decent quarterback, which I think Ryan Tannehill can be around a good offensive line. But you got to have receivers, and that is what the Titans didn't have. So A.J. Brown was that. He was the safety blanket for Ryan Tannehill. And, here we are. We're sitting here watching A.J. Brown first year in Philadelphia going for a Super Bowl. I'm not going to make my prediction based on bias. I don't want Philadelphia to win. I do not want A.J. Brown to win. That is a selfish thing that I will live with. But when it comes down to what is going to happen, in my opinion, in the Super Bowl, I think Philadelphia is just the better team. They have been the best team all season. They have not played all that many good teams. They were in the NFC East, which is a pretty good division in the NFC there. But that's pretty much the only teams they played was the Giants and the Cowboys. That is pretty much the best teams they played, and they played them twice. Okay, they on the NFC Championship, it came down to them and 49ers, who I thought were the better team coming into it with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy got hurt, and then it was basically all Eagles from there, and they dominated. When it came to Cincinnati and the Chiefs game, I thought the Chiefs got exposed, and I think the Eagles can expose that. So I'm thinking that Philadelphia will win the Super Bowl, and if the Chiefs if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts is getting the MVP. He's going to have to play spectacular. He's going to have to run the football. He's going to have to throw the football. He's going to have to do everything that he's done during this season. He cannot shy away. Otherwise, the Chiefs will win this in a close one. But it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a high-scoring game, in my opinion. But I've got the Chiefs losing to the Philadelphia Eagles, and my score, I'm putting it at 38-31 Philadelphia. It's going to be a great game. It's going to come down to the wire. Chiefs cannot pull it out, though. I do think Travis Kelce does get a touchdown, but it's not enough. So Chiefs losing Super Bowl. That would be Mahomes' third Super Bowl in the last 4 years. Only one Super Bowl to show for it. That's my opinion. If you have any comments, your Super Bowl prediction, please put it in the comments. You can follow along on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, Nashville Native Content. Let me know what you think. I'll put a poll up on Twitter. Let me know what you think. Put a poll up on YouTube. Let's see what your Super Bowl predictions are. Mine is Chiefs losing to the Eagles, 38-21. All right, so now we're getting to actual Titans and Nashville news. We've got the Tennessee Titans, who made a couple hires yesterday. Today is Thursday. We made a couple hires yesterday on Wednesday. Titans hire or at least elevate offensive coordinator, which will be Tim Kelly. Okay, he was the passing game coordinator last year after being with the Texans for the previous 7 years. Offensive coordinator for 2 years for the Texans. He did a pretty admirable job, I think, with the Texans. He had Davis Mills in his rookie season, and I thought, Davis Mills really had a down season this past year. I think Tim Kelly had a really good impact on him. I think that, if you look at the Texans offense, the past 2 years he had Deshaun Watson, then he got suspended, and then Davis Mills last year. I think the Texans had a really good offense the past 2 years while he was there. And, that he comes here. What was his role in the Titans? We will get that in just a minute because Mike Vrabel did shed a little light on that. But if you look at the Texans offense with, Deshaun Watson obviously was one of the better quarterbacks in the league at that time. Very dynamic, dual threat guy. Davis Mills comes in. He's a third-round pick out of Stanford. What can you really say for him? He was not expected to do much. Deshaun Watson, doesn't get a suspension, but he basically sits out the whole season, and but he does good. He beat the Titans once. That was a very rainy football game, and I was there, and that was not fun to watch. But Tim Kelly, I thought he did good and obviously he needed a promotion, and I think sometimes sometimes things can be a lateral move. Going from offensive coordinator to an offensive coordinator can be a lateral move, but I think it's an upgrade in your job because of the team that you're going to. Texans are terrible. Titans were not at that point. They didn't have a good year last year. Todd Downing was the OC, rightfully so, to get fired, and now they promote Tim Kelly. There were some other coordinator positions, other other options out there we discussed last week, but obviously they ended up going Tim Kelly with the route, and they did hire Charles London, who they did interview for the OC, but they hired Charles London as the quarterbacks coach and the passing game coordinator. So it essentially takes the job of Tim Kelly from last year. So I think there's a lot to look forward to. I think a lot of Titans fans wanted Tim Kelly as the OC midseason, fire Downing, see what Tim Kelly can do. But his role last year, Mike Vrabel did shed some light on that. His role was basically he had input on first and second downs as if they were passing downs. But other than that, he was more of he was more of like a it's losing me here, but it's what do you call it? A scout, in-game scout, or looking ahead scout, basically trying to manage, what the game plans are going to be and stuff like that. So he didn't have a whole lot of role. He obviously had his inputs in practice, but he didn't have a whole lot. He said he had some input on the passing downs and stuff like that, but how much of that was Todd Downing, because I don't if Tim Kelly, it does come out that he did have a lot of input, or this season we go into it and Tim Kelly is not that great. I think you can understand. But I think with his, roles that he did with the Texans, I think that should give you somewhat of hope. I think Tim Kelly can be a good hire. So we'll see what goes from there. I think Ryan Tannehill stays as the quarterback. There were some rumors earlier this week of Aaron Rodgers possibly coming to the Titans and in trade. The Athletic put it out. Some executives said it. I don't think there's any legs with that story. Why would Rodgers want to come to the Titans? There's no weapons other than Derrick Henry. So he's what has he wanted in Green Bay for the last 10 years? He wants a receiver. Other than Devontae Adams. He wants weapons. He wants to go win a Super Bowl, and the Titans I don't think can give him that this year, unless he's just coming here to ease out his days, kind of like a Randy Moss or Andre Johnson or something, or Adrian Peterson, just running out your days. I don't think that's what Rodgers wants. I think he still's got some good years left, and I don't think the Titans would serve that well. But, who knows? You never know. But Tannehill, I think, is just the better option for this Titans offense, the way it's currently constructed, and how they can get further. Now, if they go through the draft and they upgrade a lot on the team, then I think you can start saying that you need a much better quarterback, and talk about Aaron Rodgers or something like that. But until then, I think Tannehill is the proper quarterback for this offense. They also made some other hires. They made defensive pass game coordinator and the the DBs coach, and Chris Harris from Washington Redskins. That will always be the Redskins to me, but the Washington Commanders, and he's very well respected around the league. He's done a lot of good things with the Commanders, with their defensive backs. That was one of the better things going for them on that team. He was up for defensive coordinator jobs. I think one was the 49ers, and so he's up for some high caliber jobs in this league. He settles and takes the Titans job. I think he can really do some good things. A lot of input there. The other coordinator, or not a coordinator, but I have to. The Titans' first ever female coach, Lori Locust, will become the defensive quality control. This made headlines the other day, and Lori Locust, first female coach to ever be in the Titans organization, so that has a really cool impact there. Just like Rand Carthon was the first African American general manager, so Titans are doing a lot of firsts this year. So I like to see that. A lot of diversity and a lot of backgrounds coming in, and a lot of outside hires, which I'm always for outside hires. New blood, new faces, new brains, so to construct this team. So we'll see how it goes. There's a lot of changes, a lot of shifts in positions. I know Tony Dews, who was the running backs coach, is now the tight ends coach. So I'm curious to see how the season's going to go, how the coaching hires are going to go, and or how the new roles are going to go this season, and they're going to go through the draft, and we'll get into the draft in the coming weeks as it gets closer, and kind of break down some players. And but Titans are in an okay spot right now. I think they are where they are. We've been over that, and we'll see how it goes. But I think Tim Kelly can be a good hire. I don't there's a lot of people that upset. It's like, oh, you could have gotten Matt Nagy, or you could have gotten Eric Bieniemy, or at least interview him, or there's other players out there or other coordinators out there that you could interview. But I think I think they hired Tim Kelly as the passing game coordinator for a reason. I think it was in purpose to one day succeed Todd Downing and be the offensive coordinator. So I think that's what it is. I think that was their guy all along. I don't know why they took so long to do it. It made it seem like they wanted Matt Nagy or Eric Bieniemy, but Tim Kelly's the OC, so we'll see how it goes. All right, moving on to the Predators. Yeah, that's a topic in and of itself. They just got back from the All-Star break. UC Saros had a goalie goal. There was a goalie shooting competition, and just like Pecorine a couple years ago against the Chicago Blackhawks, scored a goalie goal. In the All-Star Skills Challenge, Saros does a 200-footer. Well, it's not really 200 feet, but scores a goal and does his little celebration with putting his arms up. So that was really cool there. Saros did a really good job. Central Division of the All-Star, they made it to the final, ended up losing to the Pacific, I think it was. Not the Pacific, that's the Western Conference. The Atlantic. The Atlantic Division won that. So that was cool to see. I'm not really big into the Pro Bowls and the All-Star games and all that stuff because I think they're so fabricated and they're so fake that I get you just having players there for a good time, but I don't think the players are all full enjoying it. At least the Pro Bowl, there's a lot of players, especially Josh Jacobs, who didn't want to be in the Pro Bowl. But I think the All-Star. I didn't watch any of that, but I saw that. So Predators returned from the All-Star break. They played the Vegas Golden Knights on Tuesday, and it was a loss. It was a bad loss, 4-1. I don't know. The Predators, like we've talked about, they're a basket case. You can close that basket, and when you get back into it, you don't know what you're going to open. It's something may have crawled in, and something good may come out. Something may have crawled in, and something bad may come out. I don't know. This team is very, very interesting. And I don't know what to make of them. I keep telling you that it's time to blow it up. I think they have good players coming up. Philip Tomasino, they have what's his name? Oh my Lord, I'm drawing a blank now. But they have some good players coming up. They have a lot of even if you look at the prospect pool and you look at people coming up, they've got some good roster players. There's some players in the KHL, the Russian best league, who they have yet to make their NHL debut, but they are really good. They are making names for themselves. Yusuf Parson is really good. I think for a rookie that not a high caliber draft pick. I think he was second or third round. Very good player, 6'2", physical, has some skill. And he's become an everyday NHL player for them. The Predators news, though, besides the loss the other night, they did sign Cole Smith to a $750,000. Isn't that what it was? To a contract to extend him. Why, you ask? I don't know. Not that you ask, but why? I have no idea. Cole Smith, he's not a very good player. It took him over half the season to score his first goal, and then proceeded a week later to score his second goal, and that's all he has to this point. He has 2 goals in his first season with the Preds. He was a pretty good goal scorer in Milwaukee. He scored about 20 goals last year with Milwaukee. And that's pretty much all he is. Why, is he good enough? I think he's decent on the penalty kill. I think he's good on defense. But when it comes to being a fourth liner, you're just looking for him to be physical. But he's a headache. He creates penalties and, he makes dumb decisions because he's still young and he's still working his way through. But I don't understand what they see in him to quite extend him. I heard on 102.5 The Game, Jared Stillman basically saying that, because David Poile essentially has a free reign to do whatever he wants, he's just hiring him or signing players because, why not? He's on his way out eventually anyway, so what does it matter? And he can do whatever he wants. I thought that was kind of funny. Jared Stillman is a very interesting character in himself, but I thought that was kind of funny. It's true though. David Poile is not making all these great decisions in my opinion, and I think this season, the trade deadline is coming up in less than a month. I think you cut bait with players. I think it's time to start anew. It's okay if you have to rebuild. It's okay. Every team has to go through it at some point in their history. Okay, the Predators sucked when they first became a team. They were in not even a rebuild. They were in a build period because they couldn't get anything going. Yes, they've made the playoffs for 8 straight seasons, but they don't look like they're gonna make the playoffs this year. They're just not good enough. They're not consistent enough. They can beat teams like the New Jersey Devils the last game before the All-Star break, but then they show up and they play another good team, the Vegas Golden Knights, and lose 5-1. It was 5-1, not 4-1. So this team is very interesting. They're not consistent. They're not good enough, and that's my stance, and it doesn't change. Every time I watch them, it doesn't change. The on ice product is just it's not good enough, and it's not all that great to watch. They show flashes every now and then. Like I said, Philip Tomasino needs to come up in the lineup. Huso Parssinen is good, so the young players are doing well. Cody Glass is starting to come on. So I think these players are coming on. That's what you have to look to. That's what you have to look forward to. Coming up, the Predators play the Flyers tomorrow night, or Saturday night. Yeah, Saturday night. So they go up to Philadelphia, play them. Maybe they'll go to a bar on Sunday and watch the Super Bowl. Who knows? Maybe that's what they need to do is just take a break. Flyers are pretty good. They're about equal of the Predators, I would say. So I guess that means the Predators are pretty good, and I don't think that they're pretty good. They're decent. We'll say that. So both teams are decent. So this is Saturday night will be a decent game between the two teams. Who will win? The Flyers won the first game, and we'll see how it goes from there. There's not much to say other than it's just not good enough. And you look at the Predators night in, night out, and you don't know what you're gonna get. So. We'll see. We'll see how things go. Like I said, the Predators are playing Philadelphia Friday or Saturday night. So, I think that I think they can win. I mean, they can win almost any game. Hockey is one of those leagues that you can win almost any game. It's when you get to the playoffs that things really start coming down to the nitty gritty. You got 7 games against one of the better teams like Colorado last year. You can beat Colorado during the season like they did last year, but then get swept in the postseason. That's just what they are. Playoffs are a different story, and the Predators team, the way they're currently constructed and the way they currently play, they're just not going to do anything. So that's reality, really. All right, so that's the Predators. Nashville SC, like I said, they were going to play Orlando City last night, but they had to cancel it. I can't remember why. Something with the stadium. So, where is it? So, we'll keep updates on that as that goes on. The season starts. I think it starts in March, so they're about a month away. Hannah Mukhtar, can he do it again? He was very good last year. Very exciting to watch. CJ Sapong had an off year last year after having a really stellar year 2 years ago. I think if you have a good front line of Mukhtar and Sapong, I think this team can go really anywhere in the playoffs. I think they have a really good team. And then, of course, you have Walker Zimmerman in the back. And so we'll see how things go. We'll update as things get further. So that's it for today's show of the Nashville Native. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see if predictions come right of the Super Bowl. Philadelphia over Kansas City, 38-31 is my prediction. We'll see what happens. Talk LeBron James and becoming the all-time leading scorer in the NBA history. So that's exciting. Talk Predators news, Titans news. If there's anything that I did not touch and you want me to cover next week, please let me know. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or Twitter. Nashville Native is the content page. Justin Hawkins is the name. You know where to find me. A lot of cool things going in sports week in and week out, and I'm here to cover it, especially in the offseason when there's not much Titans or Predators talk to go over. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to subscribe and follow along. And so you can get all that Nashville sports content that you need, that you crave, that you want. So until next time, I'm Justin Hawkins, and you're watching The Nashville Native.